Sir, welcome to Honor Cafe Hall of Heroes. We've been looking forward to this interview. You served in World War II.
Yeah,
You did. Where were you born? Where were you raised?
I'm born and raised in Iowa, northern Iowa.
What was that like?
It was tough. I was the oldest of three boys. I came from the old school where the oldest son was kind of farmed out to help pay for expenses.
That was during the Depression.
Yeah, you better believe it.
It's tough.
I can remember the dust storms in Nebraska that were so bad that my father had the horses with wet gunny sacks on their nose so they could breathe.
Wow.
At times they're pretty damn rough.
Yeah.
The kids don't know what it's like today.
Yeah, you probably just were thankful for having a meal.
Yeah, you were thankful. I remember one year my mother had money saved for Christmas, and she had $3 for the whole family. She had $3.95 saved, and the bill collector came to the house and took it because he needed to pay the bill.
Man, that's tough.
And when you're a kid, 18 years old,
Yeah.
it's hard to understand back then
Yeah.
that we could be fighting literally over nothing.
Yeah.
And times weren't just tough for us, they were tough for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the same damn boat.
Yeah.
You didn't know where the next dollar was coming from.
Yeah. You left there and you went and got a college education.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
Iowa State names.
What'd you get? What kind of degree?
I have a degree in landscape architecture and a minor in architecture.
When did you enter military service?
In May of the year I turned 18.
Wow. What was that like, knowing you were going into World War II?
Didn't have too much choice.
Yeah.
I sure as hell didn't want to go in the damn army.
You got some Marines back there. They're amen.
I know they're heckling me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you went in the Navy.
Yeah, I went in the Navy.
What'd you do in the Navy?
I was the old-fashioned motor machinist, later called an engineman. So I was always on smaller ships because usually they were diesel fired.
Okay.
Bigger ships were steam fired.
Yeah.
So that pretty well said you're going to be in a landing craft or small ships.
So when did you deploy to the Pacific?
The 20th of May.
20th of May. What year was that?
I can keep my years straight. The year I turned 18, I answered it that way.
Okay. So what was that like, being in the Pacific?
Well, they flew us over, so it was kind of a big change. I was on this. I was on 2 or 3 ships. I got to keep them straight. I was on this special ship that was designed for shelling the coast just before invasion. It was called an LST.
An LST.
Landing Ship Tank.
Tank. Gotcha.
And we could only fire one way. What we'd do is go out and drop anchor and then coast in. The enemy was over here, the invasion was going to be over here. We shot the hell out of them here. Then we had to get out of there. And that's when the fun became. We were there a little while, and suddenly a kamikaze appeared on the scene, left over from the invasion. And that was rather exciting. We weren't prepared for it. Hell, we'd only been at sea, in the air and at sea for a couple of weeks.
So you didn't have much anti-aircraft practice?
No, we didn't have any anyway.
Wow.
We were supposed to do the saturation bombing, like it was like.
Yeah.
Then they'd invade, and then when they invaded, we were supposed to get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
Well, they called us going out.
it did. So that they hit your ship?
And they sunk it, ultimately sunk it. And we were in the water a bit overnight. It was kind of hairy. Out of 80 aboard ship, 39 survived.
Only 39.
Yeah.
Did you think you were going to make it in the water overnight?
Hell no. You know,
I guess that's when you start praying.
that's when you start praying, when you feel the sharks rubbing against the bottom of the life. So,
Wow.
and that horizon is a long ways away when the water's up to here.
Did any guys die in the water?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
39 of them didn't survive.
Yeah.
We were lucky we got an SOS off early because the captain was experienced. He'd done this before. And so we got the hell out of there as fast as we could after the attack. But there was a lone Japanese Zero.
Yeah.
And the rest of the story is history.
Did the captain survive?
He survived.
He survived.
Yeah.
So he was in the water with you guys.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Now,
who picked you up in the morning?
It was a Spanish freighter
The Spanish freighter?
that he'd gotten an SOS off to. He could see what was going to happen, so he abandoned ship a little bit early because there's no point in fighting. You can't outrun them. You can't outgun them.
Yeah.
Oh, we ought to have had the Marines there. They could have taken care of it.
Yeah. he looks over at the Marines over here. That's right. So did you know the captain was in the water with you?
We didn't know who was in the water.
We didn't know who was in the water.
We just know that he had sent an SOS.
Okay.
We all had our fingers crossed.
But that was a good feeling when that Spanish frigate pulled you up. But
Oh, yeah.
were you worried about being under attack again, though, as soon as you got on that ship?
No, we got out of there. Those things didn't last long. They were, saturation bombing like things. They hit and miss. They struck left.
Yeah. What island was that you were preparing for the invasion?
That was off from Saipan.
Saipan.
Yeah.
So that was right before the Battle of
And
Saipan.
right before the invasion.
What ship did you serve on next?
The next ship I served on, let's see, I got back, I survived all that and got back to the States. And I got assigned to a seaplane tender.
A seaplane tender.
It was one of these things back during the early part of the war that they were they figured they were going to bomb the Formosa Straits and come in that way to get to us. But the seaplane tender, wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of my story. Shut it off for a second, let me think.
Okay.
The seaplane tenders were going to get called back in to active duty.
Okay.
So we got off that ship and I went to the naval shipyard and I got some emergency leave because we'd been sunk and all that stuff. And then I went back in to I was recalled and I went back into the reserves again. This time I was on an LSMR.
What's an LSMR?
That's a land ship medium rocket.
Okay.
And we were on that for quite a little while. Then I finally got out of the service, and I got called in when all the women and children were supposed to go first.
Yeah.
You Marines beat us to the punch. That was the Truman years, you remember?
Yeah. Now,
women and children first.
women and children first. So when you were on that other ship, did you have to attack another island, or were you? Was that the last time you had?
That was the last attack on that duty.
Okay.
We were on LSMR, and that was basically. I've done this so many times I get it kind of screwed up in terms.
It's all right. It's all right.
In terms of dates, if you look at that thing that's in the paper, that's pretty square.
We'll review that article because I want to get some pictures from the article in the paper to post on this YouTube channel as well. So you got out of the military and you survived it. You survived a ship being blown out from under you.
Yeah.
And now you go back to the civilian world. What'd you do as a civilian?
I went to college.
You went back to college again?
Yeah. Oh, I went 3 times.
You went 3 times.
Yeah.
What'd you do your second time?
The second time I was in, I was on a what do I want to call it?
Was it a scholarship?
Well, it wasn't a scholarship. I was on the ship that was a floating dry dock.
Okay.
AFDL.
Okay.
Auxiliary Floating Dry Dock Large.
Okay.
Now, we could not take a vessel aboard. We had to overhaul them in the water. It was like a cheese box with the ends knocked out. And we lived on a barge. We floated the barge outside, floated all kinds of small craft inside.
Yeah.
Pumped the water out, and then we got the Marines out, and they scraped the bottom of all those boats.
It never gets old making fun of Marines, does it?
Well, it's simplified to the end, you know.
Yeah, it is. So Bubba and Mr. Leland, I want to thank you today, and Bubba's been up here visiting you, and we just really appreciate your service. We really appreciate your stories, spending time with us today. And from the Honor Cafe Hall of Heroes, I just want to say thank you.
Oh, good.